Sri Anand Sharma.
Honorable Deputy Chairman, I am going to raise a discussion on a very important matter, that is India's foreign policy and India's strategic engagement with its key partner countries in different regions of the world. So this is the first time after the NDA government assumed office that the government has agreed to discuss this, and I would like to thank the External Affairs Minister, Shrimati Sushma Swaraj, and once again
Let's talk,
express
please.
our collective happiness over her recovery and her good health. That is what we all wish. Sir, we are going to discuss this subject when the world is going through a major transformation in international relations. The global scenario is complex. There is turbulence in major countries, conflict in different regions of the world, and we do realize that we live in a world which is interconnected, which is interdependent, and technology, in fact, had blurred national boundaries, where the information capital, diseases, and threats travel very fast from one continent to another. When we live in such a world, any incident or development in one region or one country, big or small, affects all continents, all regions. What we are witnessing is a reshaping of the world order, and that is a challenge before India's foreign policy. After our independence, we have pursued a policy to promote India's supreme national interest, and this is what was given to us by the architect of modern India, the architect of India's foreign policy, India's first Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, whose contribution is very much written there in the pages of history, how he stood tall and was respected in the world as a global statesman and as a world leader. Sir, when we are witnessing these changes in the world, we do recognize that it is for the government of the day to respond and to take major foreign policy initiatives. I would like to say here that our foreign policy has always been marked by a strong national consensus and continuity. We have ensured, irrespective of which government is in office, change of governments have taken place, but we have tried to maintain that consensus in pursuit of India's national interests. And the national interests, when we talk of, integral to them are India's economic interests. There cannot be a foreign policy where we do not protect and we do not promote India's economic interests, trade, our security, and our defense. Therefore, we do hope that national consensus remains and the government takes steps, intervenes as and when required to address certain challenges which are a matter of our collective concern. Sir, India is intensely engaged with major countries of the world, but our engagement with our neighborhood is tense. There is also disengagement within our neighborhood. What is important for any foreign policy is the neighborhood policy. Managing of the periphery comes first. That is what is of critical importance. The rest comes later. Sir, India is a large country a big economy. We have rightful aspirations to play a global role, a leadership role in the Committee of the Nations. But unless we manage our neighborhood correctly, I am afraid to say it will be difficult, rather impossible, to play any meaningful role regionally or globally. I come to a Western neighbor, Pakistan. I would like to ask from our minister, what is the roadmap? We know that terrorism is a threat, and the entire nation is one and resolute when it comes to fighting terrorism. There has been an increase in cross-border attacks on our army establishments, strategic defense establishments, killing of soldiers. There's not even a day which passes when we have not lost one Jawan in one part of Jammu and Kashmir or in another part. It is not a question of statistics that how many of such attacks have taken place, how many of our soldiers have died. We have to remember that they stand up and give their sacrifice to protect us and our borders and our people. But it is each family which loses a son, whether it's a mother, a wife, a sister, or children who lose a father. Nobody, therefore, wishes that this threat should continue, and we do hope that a day will come in our lifetime when there will be a better realization across the border that peace is in the larger interest of Pakistan and of the region as such, so that there is shared prosperity and progress. This region of the world is also home to a very large number of poor people. The countries in India's neighborhood, we have similar problems. But I have one concern. Through our successful diplomacy and foreign policy, India had succeeded in de-hyphenating India-Pakistan. There was this hyphenation. We were referred together by the world, but we de-hyphenated it. The real concern is that the hyphenation is back. Pakistan, like India, is a nuclear power state. Because of the focus of the world is again shifting. And there are many countries which had not commented on India, Pakistan, and particularly on Jammu and Kashmir, which have recently made public statements and comments about their intent to intervene and mediate. We have made it clear throughout that when it comes to the state of Jammu and Kashmir, it is an integral part of India, it is irreversible, it is non-negotiable. We are very clear on that. But China has made this statement. China also possesses a part of the territory of the state of Jammu and Kashmir, which was illegally ceded by Pakistan to them in the 60s. Turkey has made a statement. This is a matter of concern to us. India and Pakistan are neighbors. We cannot change history or geography. We have to remain meaningfully engaged, and that is important. Sir, I was surprised, and many others too, when we have made claims at the highest level, at the level of the Prime Minister and the ministers. We have isolated Pakistan. Why these claims are being made? A mature, large country does not make such claims or statements when it wishes to lead the region and be a leader in the world. I would urge the government to reflect and refrain from making such statements. Why I'm saying so? Isolation of Pakistan. It is irresponsible and factually incorrect. There is a strong military axis, economic axis between Pakistan and China. Is that a fact or not? There is a strong axis between Pakistan and Turkey. India and Pakistan became members of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, SCO, in Astana on the same day now. Pakistan has entered into, or Russia has entered into, a defense MOU with Pakistan for the first time in our history. Should it be a matter of concern to us or not? There are joint military exercises of Pakistani army with China, with Russia, with Turkey. They have joint naval exercises too. So we should avoid making this boastful claim which does not resonate with any country in the world and our major partners, that we have isolated. I have given the details, and nor should India ever have this intention to isolate. India, as a big country, must declare its intent to engage and resolve issues in a correct manner. Sir, I would like to ask, आपका रोड मैप क्या है? क्या आपने दिशा सोची है इस समस्या को और एक बहुत बड़ी चुनौती का सामना करने की? आपकी पॉलिसी में कोई स्थिरता नहीं है, वो बदलती रहती है, पलटती रहती है, और देश गफलत में पड़ जाता है कि आपकी सोच क्या है। पहले आप कहते हैं बातचीत करेंगे, फिर एक पाकिस्तान का हाई कमिश्नर चाय पे दावत देता है हुर्रियत वालों को, तो आप बातचीत खत्म कर देते हो। बिल्कुल तनाव बढ़ जाता है। उसके बाद यकायक क्या बात होती है, हिंदुस्तान के लोगों को मालूम होना चाहिए। भारत और पाकिस्तान के एनएसएस, हमारे एनएसए श्री डोवल और पाकिस्तान के एनएसए जनरल जांजुआ बैंकॉक में मिले दिसंबर महीने में 2015 में। क्या आश्वासन दिया गया जिससे आश्वस्त होके, प्रभावित होके अफगानिस्तान के दौरे पर भारत के प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी एक बड़े नाटकीय अंदाज में लाहौर उतर गए और रायविंड चले गए। आप हमको क्या आपत्ति है? आपत्ति है क्योंकि भारत और अफगानिस्तान के रिश्ते बड़े संगीन हैं, संवेदनशील हैं। पाकिस्तान और अफगानिस्तान के रिश्तों में भी वही चिंताएं हैं। आप अफगानिस्तान जा रहे हैं, वहां से रास्ते में लाहौर उतरते हैं। आज तक देश को प्रधानमंत्री ने नहीं बताया कि बात क्या हुई थी, पर हमको दुख उस दिन लगा। हिंदुस्तान के प्रधानमंत्री जो तिरंगा जहाज पर है, तिरंगा लेकर चलते हैं, वो एक व्यक्ति के रूप में नहीं, भारत के प्रधानमंत्री के रूप में उतरे थे। वहां पे उनको सलामी नहीं मिली, गार्ड ऑफ ऑनर नहीं मिला, और वापस आकर हमको क्या मिला 31 दिसंबर के दिन, और नए साल की हमारे को तोहफा क्या मिला? ये अच्छे तोहफे हमारे प्रधानमंत्री लेके गए थे। तोहफा आया पठानकोट पर हमला। हमारा स्ट्रेटेजिक एयरबेस है, हमारे लोग मारे गए। क्या समाधान निकला? इसीलिए हम कहते हैं कि माननीय प्रधानमंत्री मेहनत करते हैं, उनमें बड़ी ऊर्जा है, एनर्जी है। अभी तक 65 देशों में जा चुके हैं, 5 बार अमेरिका जा चुके हैं। पहली बार हुआ है कि प्रधानमंत्री ने एक बार संसद को नहीं बताया, ना इस सदन को ना दूसरे सदन को। 65 बार में से एक बार तो बताते हैं कि क्या बात कहां करके आए हैं, कुछ तो पता लगे। और मैं बड़े सम्मान से कहूंगा, आपको जानकारी पूरी रहती है। हमारे जो विदेश सेवा है, विदेश सचिव है, अधिकारी हैं, योग्य लोग हैं। मैं उनकी प्रशंसा करूंगा कि वो भारत के हित को आगे बढ़ाते हैं, उनको मालूम होता है। पर कई बात तो आपको भी नहीं मालूम होता, कितना कैबिनेट को बताते हैं, कितना नहीं। उनका शौक यह है कि अकेले जाना, मजबूरी हो तो वो मंत्री को ले जाएं। और दूसरी जो आदत है, मैं कहूंगा इसमें, और इसको अन्यथा मत लें, कि प्रोटोकॉल्स होते हैं। जब भारत का या किसी देश का प्रधानमंत्री जाता है किसी देश में, या वहाँ से हमारे देश में आते हैं, तो जहाज़ का दरवाज़ा खुलता है तो हमारा एम्बेसडर जो राजदूत होता है वो ऊपर जाता है, उस देश का चीफ ऑफ प्रोटोकॉल ऊपर जाता है, उनको लेके आता है। अब यहाँ पे सबके बर्खास्त पहले ही हो जाते हैं, दौड़ के नीचे आ जाते हैं, फिर अकेले आए, क्योंकि हिदायत है, हमको मालूम है कि फ्रेम में कोई दूसरा आदमी नहीं होना चाहिए। मुबारक हो, फ्रेम में कोई ना हो, पर हिंदुस्तान तो फ्रेम में रहे दुनिया के, और कायदे से रहे, ये जरूरी बात है। मुझे आपसे ये भी कहना है कि पठानकोट के बाद निरंतर हमले हुए, हमले रुके नहीं, चल रहे हैं। मैंने जिक्र किया, हमारे यहाँ उधमपुर हुआ, उरी हुआ, नगरोटा हुआ, पालमपुर हुआ, वामपुर हुआ। मैं आता हूं तो सुषमा जी, यहां से कभी कोई ऐसी बात नहीं की गई, कोई कटाक्ष या अपमान की, जो यूपीए सरकार ने, प्रधानमंत्री डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह ने बार बार झेली। मैं आपको याद दिलाना चाहूंगा सम्मान के साथ कि 3 साल पहले माननीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के शब्द मई 2014 के, हमारे जवानों के जब सर काट दिए गए थे और उसके बाद जयपुर जा करके पाकिस्तान के मेहमानों को बिरयानी खिला रहे थे और कहते क्या है, ये प्रोटोकॉल है। मैं देश के नौजवानों को पूछता हूं, जो मेरे देश के जवानों का सर काट लें, क्या उनके साथ प्रोटोकॉल होता है? क्या ये हिंदुस्तान की जनता को उसकी पीड़ा पर, उसके घाव पर नमक छिड़काने का काम नहीं है? ये शब्द हैं आज के प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के। उसके बाद क्या? आपने भी कहा था, आपका मैं बहुत सम्मान करता हूं, कि एक सिर कटेगा तो उसकी जगह पे 10 कटेंगे। मुझे आज आपसे एक कहना है कि माननीय उपसभापति महोदय, कि हमारे जो हमले हुए, खास तौर पे उरी के बाद सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक हुई, सारे देश ने एक आवाज में सेना का सलाम किया, उनकी बहादुरी का। जब आपने कहा कि हमने स्ट्राइक कर दी, हमने सोचा चलो समस्या खत्म हुई, और पूरा हिंदुस्तान साथ खड़ा हुआ। हमको नाज है, फख्र है अपने बहादुर सेनानियों पर, और पूरा देश उनके कुर्बानियों के लिए कृतज्ञ। पर उसके बाद क्या? हमले जारी, और दुख की बात है, कितनी बार सिर कटे उसके बाद। प्रधानमंत्री मन की बात तो करते हैं, पहले खूब बोलते थे, पर आज जब ये घटनाएं होती हैं मौन व्रत धारण कर लेते। अब क्यों नहीं बोलते? हम नहीं कहेंगे आपसे कि कितने सिर काट के लाओ, हमको मालूम है गंभीर बातें हैं। कूटनीति और रणनीति, इसको हल्केपन से नहीं लिया जाता जो पहले लिया जाता था। यहां पर जिम्मेवार विपक्ष बैठा है जो राष्ट्र के प्रति अपनी जिम्मेवारी को समझता है। इसीलिए हम वो बात कभी नहीं कहेंगे जो बार बार कही गई, बार बार जो डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह जी पर और हमारी सरकार के बारे में कहा गया। आज 3.25 साल में हमने एक बार कोई ऐसी बात नहीं की जो स्तर से नीचे हो, जिसमें शालीनता ना हो, और हम आज भी उसको कायम रखेंगे। पर अभी प्रधानमंत्री जब अमेरिका गए, now he made a boastful statement which he should not have made with all this happening. He said in Washington on 26th of June that after the surgical strikes against Pakistan, the world has recognized India's prowess. हिंदुस्तान की शक्ति के सामने दुनिया ने माथा झुका दिया। ये प्रधानमंत्री के शब्द हैं, सदन को बता रहा हूं। हैरत की बात है, दुनिया झुक गई, दुनिया ने ताकत मान ली, पर पड़ोसी नहीं मान रहे, पाकिस्तान नहीं मान रहा। ये समझ में नहीं आई। उसके बाद I would also like to say one thing. सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक थी, कोई बड़े हिंदुस्तान की फौज की जीत थी 1971 में, जब बांग्लादेश के लोगों की मदद के लिए गए, देश की आजादी हुई। और द्वितीय विश्व युद्ध के बाद सबसे बड़ी मिलिट्री विक्ट्री भारत की सेना की हुई। पाकिस्तान की फौज ने आत्मसमर्पण किया, सरेंडर किया। यहां पे 92,000 युद्ध बंदी हम लेकर आए, पर इंदिरा गांधी ने कोई ऐसा बयान नहीं दिया। उस इंदिरा जी का नाम नहीं लेते आप। आज उनकी शताब्दी मना रहे हैं हम लोग। देश के लिए शहीद हुई, देश के लिए कुर्बान हुई। आपकी सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक, एंड यू डोंट इवन रिमेंबर विद रिस्पेक्ट इंदिरा गांधी, बांग्लादेश, her sacrifice and her martyrdom. It's very sad. Governments change. You may have ideological differences. You may have had strong differences with Indira ji or with Jawaharlal Nehru. But I'm afraid, Deputy Chairman Sir, no government in the world, no leader, not even dictators, have been able to change or rewrite history. And this is my words for the Prime Minister. You cannot. History will reassert itself. History shall triumph. History has always triumphed. So it's not a question that who is sitting in the government today. Those who did something for the country, they cannot be insulted. They must be remembered and they must be respected. Sir, as I said, when you win something, even a military victory, must not be boastful. And that is what Indira Gandhi showed by her dignified conduct and behavior after the Bangladesh liberation. So we have concerns because China's profile in Pakistan is increasing. They have a military partnership, economic partnership, and Pakistan is getting emboldened because of the support it gets also from China. That is our concern. Now, when we move beyond that, sir, equally is our concern on sovereignty issue, on China-Pakistan economic corridor. But I have to say one thing, that our relationship with China is complex and uneasy. It has been. There are historical reasons. And there are concerns which we have, and External Affairs Minister is fully aware, over the growing confrontation with China. It started with the Chinese road construction in Doklam. There are India's security interests, India's national interests. And I want to make one thing absolutely clear, that when it comes to India's national interest, we stand together as one. There are no two views, no divisions in this country. That is the position of the Indian National Congress. That's the position of the entire opposition. And we want to make it clear. And perhaps we know that it is on the issue is of tri-junction, the location of the tri-junction between India, Bhutan, and China. But China is being unusually aggressive. Yesterday, the latest Chinese statement is a matter of concern. It is unusual. In 2 days, the Chinese President Xi Jinping has spoken twice. They are closing the door of diplomacy. We would like to know, when External Affairs Minister replies, what is India's assessment and our response to the latest Chinese statement? I would like to say here, sir, much has been debated and discussed on India-China relations, but I may just read few lines to what Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru had said when it came to India's border with China and concerning Sikkim and Bhutan. He had said in Lok Sabha on 12th of September 1959, and I would like to quote, in the context of a letter from the then Chinese Prime Minister Chou En-lai, Nehru had said, "I beg to differ from Premier Chou En-lai. It does very much fall within the scope of our present or future discussion. If he thinks that he can deal with it as something apart from India, we are not agreeable to that. We have publicly and rightly undertaken certain responsibilities for the defense of Sikkim and Bhutan." Sikkim is now part of India, 1974 and Indira Gandhi. But Bhutan, we have a special relationship. And he concluded by saying, if something happens on their borders, then it is the same thing as an interference with the border with India. We have maintained that position. And that's why I said that it is for the government of the day to respond. But when it comes to our country, whether it's that side or this side, there will be one voice, one view, because we all are Indians first, and it is India first for us, nobody else. But still I will say, Sushma ji, diplomacy must be given a chance. That India should make it clear to the world that we believe in making all possible diplomatic efforts, the various channels of communication that we have, to de-escalate and to de-conflict. That does not mean retreat. That means a negotiated resolution safeguarding and securing India's interests. Sir, the developments on our border with China definitely have had a very adverse and negative impact on the special relationship that has been cultivated by successive governments, by our government, by your government too, when it comes to building a special partnership with the People's Republic of China. That is why there are concerns. The National Security Advisor has been to China. Prime Minister met with the Chinese Prime Minister Xi Jinping in Astana and in Hamburg. Now, we had asked you, Sushma ji, but now since this is being discussed in the Parliament, we said that Prime Minister of India and Chinese President had meaningful discussions on a range of issues. Why did China deny? They rejected it. They said there was no meaningful discussion. There was no discussion. So it is, no, I'm not distrusting. I will trust my government when it comes to meeting. Why should my government make a wrong statement? I will not trivialize this matter. It's a serious matter. But why have they done so? And what is the intent behind it? Other issue. The NSAs have met. I do not expect you to share with us whatever is sensitive, which cannot be shared or brought in public domain. But at least give us an idea. Is there a window opened that this standoff can be resolved? At least that much you can share with us, if nothing else. It would have been better. I am reminded when the situation became tense and the conflict came in 1962, Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji had just written as a member of parliament a letter to Jawaharlal Nehru, requesting him to summon the House, Parliament, and to debate the matter. Jawaharlal Nehru convened the Indian Parliament, and Atalji spoke there, and Jawaharlal Nehru replied. Yes, all this has happened. Prime Minister has not uttered a word, not even once, as to what he talked with Xi Jinping. What is the assurance? Is it our right to know or not? It is our right, and it is his duty to tell us. He cannot avoid that. That we must make it absolutely clear. It's not with due respect that you are saying, but the Prime Minister, when he engages, he cannot remain silent on matters of strategic national interest. Now, before I conclude on China, I have to ask you a question. You have taken a position on One Belt, One Road initiative.
Before you conclude.
No, I will take time. Abhi to bahut hai.
After 6 p.m. you change, yeah?
Deputy Chairman, sir.
That means discussion. One more.
Before I was asked to sit down, I was completing my observations and concerns on China. I refer to the One Belt, One Road initiative. We are one, both the government and the opposition, when it comes to the sovereignty issues, particularly on the China-Pakistan economic corridor. But at the same time, we have to be mindful how the rest of the world has looked at it. China was able to get our entire neighborhood for the conference. Our strategic partners, Japan, Korea, Russia and America, they all went there because they look at it purely as economic and connectivity. So you should look at it, given the situation in our neighborhood, how India can assertively, protecting its interest, remain engaged, because we were talking of isolating others, we should not isolate ourselves also. So we have to reflect. Nobody can force India, no country, big or small, to support a project which is against India, which is against India's sovereignty. So that is where, of course, we don't want to divide the House on this issue, but we would like to be educated as to whether you have reflected very deeply and talked to all our strategic partners, because it was a matter of concern. Impression was given that Japan, Korea, Russia and America, they understand India's concerns, but all of them went there. That's why our concerns are there, and I have raised it. Sir, our relationship with Nepal is equally critical, equally sensitive. प्रधानमंत्री पहले गए, उनका भव्य स्वागत हुआ, उन्होंने नेपाल की संसद को संबोधित किया, पशुपतिनाथ जी के मंदिर में पूजा करी, चंदन की लकड़ी गई, बड़ा अच्छा सब काम करके आए। पर दूसरे दौरे पर भूकंप आ गया। क्यों आया? वहां की संवेदनशीलता को समझना आवश्यक है, सभापति महोदय। देश छोटा हो, पड़ोसी बड़ा हो, छोटा हो, पड़ोसी पड़ोसी है, नेपाल के साथ रिश्ता विशेष महत्व का है, जैसा महत्व हमारा श्रीलंका और बांग्लादेश के साथ भी है। तो हमारा बड़े भाई का एक रवैया नहीं होना चाहिए था। क्या कारण था कि यहाँ से घोषणा कर दी गई, जो पहली बार हुआ, कि भारत के प्रधानमंत्री अब जाएंगे और वहाँ पे 3 जनसभाओं को संबोधित करेंगे, जिसमें एक जनकपुर में थी। इतिहास को समझें कि कितनी उसमें नाजुकता है। जनकपुर नाम पे नेपाल में हड़ताल हो गई, जनकपुर में 1 हफ्ते तक बंद हो गया। आपको सारी उपलब्धि जो करके आए थे पहले दौरे की, दूसरे दौरे में जाने से पहले आपने उसको साफ कर दिया, और जो भारत के खिलाफ वहाँ पे फोर्सेस हैं उनको थोड़ा बढ़ावा मिला। So we must not do something which fuels anti-India sentiments in that country. We know that China has a strong presence and strong interests. And there are elements who are opposed to this very special, privileged partnership between people of India and people of Nepal. Shared history, culture. We have so much in common with Nepal. And we must ensure that nothing is done which actually hurts the sensitivities of an important neighboring country. Sir, I refer to Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka, after years of conflict, civil war has settled down. We have undertaken a number of projects there, particularly in the Jaffna Peninsula, which this government is taking forward for the rehabilitation of the Tamil people, to rebuild the infrastructure. But we have to handle this relationship again with care and tact to secure also India's interests. Now, what is my concern or India's concern? China, which has taken the Gwadar port, which has developed that port in Pakistan, which has security implications for us, economic implications for us, has taken Colombo port and recently Hambantota port. So from Gwadar to Hambantota, and Maldives is gone. Maldives today, which is a country which was totally under India's influence, today we don't have any influence or any say. So these are national security concerns. These are India's interests get threatened. So how are we addressing this issue, and why Hambantota 100-year lease was given to the Chinese entities by the Sri Lankan government? I'm sure that the government is equally concerned. And we will take measures which will at least ensure that India's interests are neither compromised nor threatened, which they are with these developments. Equally important is Bangladesh, the land boundary agreement, which was signed, stalled for years but signed because we supported the constitutional amendment. But I'm afraid to note that various commitments that were made to Bangladesh or various projects and assistance, those projects have to be taken forward in right earnest. And the assurances given by the Prime Minister and the Government of India and by the previous government must be honored and fulfilled, because it's a question of India's credibility with Bangladesh. And for that matter, all the projects with Nepal, the projects with Sri Lanka, the projects with Bangladesh, we must ensure, particularly the connectivity projects, right up. Bhutan, of course, is there, very important, but luckily that is where the threat is coming, the real push now, where we have a core strategic interest. All those projects must be taken to completion. I'll go beyond that. Other commitments that we have made. We have made commitments to Africa. You had the India-Africa Forum Summit. Equally important. Have the status. See where we are. $10 billion we announced. So there should be evaluation. Country-wise evaluation. So that our partner countries, our neighbors in particular, are fully assured that India means what it commits itself to. Sir, that's why I'd said that we will play a meaningful regional and global role only if we manage our neighborhood correctly. So Russia is a time-tested friend, not neighborhood, but extended neighborhood. Russia has stood with India in challenging times when India was threatened. Russia stood by us when there were sanctions against India. Nuclear sanctions were there. They supported our space, our program, our nuclear program. The defense cooperation with Russia has always been important. Of late, sir, this special strategic partnership is being weakened. We would like the minister to tell us and to assure because the tendency which we see to undervalue India-Russia relationship is not a healthy development. And I earlier alluded to the disturbing development of Russia-Pakistan defense agreement. So these are our serious concerns because that will be to India's detriment. I will straightaway now come to an important strategic partner, a major power of the world, the United States of America. So strengthening of the Indo-US strategic partnership has been a conscious policy that was pursued by the UPA government despite strong opposition. Because we saw that this partnership between two biggest democracies of the world is important. Because we have to ensure balance when we engage with the world. We cannot engage with a truncated globe. We cannot ignore major powers of the world. And we were able to take forward, despite all challenges, including the challenge to the very survival of the UPA government in 2008 July, the Indo-US nuclear agreement. Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, who is here, had the wisdom to steer it and accept that challenge because we saw India's long-term national interest to end India's exclusion from the global mainstream, to join the nuclear mainstream. And not only that agreement was signed, but we also got an unconditional, open-ended NSG waiver. Let me remind this House, today the question is of India applying and not getting a membership of the NSG. I will say, with full sense of responsibility, this government has mishandled the NSG issue and India's membership. We could get the waiver. You should have been sure of, after talking to China, not assuming that there will not be a veto by China when India applies for the membership. We support the India's application, but I have said that it could have been handled better. Unfortunately, it was not. Our Prime Minister has made 5 visits. We have concerns. There's, of course, the domestic developments we don't talk about, but there is a visible, some kind of instability and turmoil there also after the change from Barack Obama to President Donald Trump. Now, PM has not told us, except the joint statements which come, कि बातचीत क्या हुई, उनके और ट्रंप के बीच में क्या बातचीत हुई, प्रेसिडेंट ट्रंप. जो joint statement है वो हमने देख लिया. I would ask the straight question, what have we achieved? We have critical interests, economic interests, security interests, defense interests. But what comes across from this joint statement is a transactional relationship that India will buy weapons, India will change its trade policy to facilitate entry of American goods and agricultural commodities in Indian market. That's why, what did we get? Our one issue was H-1B visas, because Indian IT industry has made a notable contribution to America. We don't want just a paragraph saying Indian IT industry is good, they are very qualified and they make a good contribution. What about the visas for our sons and daughters? Why did the Prime Minister not get an assurance? That is why I say it cannot be purely transactional. It cannot only be the US wish list reflected. We were talking about critical areas of technology, collaboration, including drones, radars, and jet propulsions. Those are there in the earlier statements. Why the departure? Why the dilution? We don't understand. And you must clarify to us, after Prime Minister's return, there is no statement except you were kind enough to tell us and assure us, and we believe you. And I wish you more strength so that you go there and get it for us what Shri Narendra Modi could not get for us. We really pray. Though you, rightly so, you will say, because the credit will go to the Prime Minister, good luck, but we want India's interest first. We want our IT industry to be protected. We want India's long-term strategic interests to be fully secured. That's why I've mentioned this. Sir, it's not only that. After return, there is a missive, there's a note, and you please confirm it. We have read in the newspapers from the Prime Minister's office to the Revenue Department to reduce the duty for the import of Harley Davidson motorcycles. वो चिंता है आपको कि हार्ले डेविडसन हिंदुस्तान में सस्ता आ जाए, H1B वीजा ना मिले, वो चिंता नहीं है. समझ नहीं आई प्राथमिकता क्या है. ये बताएं आप इसमें. ये हुआ है तो क्यों हुआ? ये हुआ है. और अगर नहीं हुआ तो उन अखबार वालों को पकड़ो जो बड़े बड़े राष्ट्रीय अखबारों ने छापा है. मैं तो उसी का हवाला दे रहा हूं, क्योंकि प्रधानमंत्री ने तो अपने जो पत्र लिखा, हमारे को तो कॉपी भेजी नहीं, ना ही उनको भेजनी चाहिए, पर मैं बता रहा हूं ये बात. सर, इन द कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ इंडो-US relationship, which is very important and I've underscored it, there is also the Paris Climate Accord. India did make a lot of compromises because we wanted to tell the world that we are sincere, we are concerned about the global warming and climate change. And there were many concessions that we made because we were persuaded also, both India and China, by the United States of America. Now, America has walked out of the Paris Accord. We are there. We made concessions and compromises, but the biggest polluters are out and India is there. So did the Prime Minister persuade? Because Prime Minister is very effusive. He meets his counterparts very warmly. He gets down and hugs everyone from Donald Trump to Macron. अच्छा है, जब भी डिप्लोमेसी का कोई नतीजा निकले तब तो ठीक है, किसी को अच्छी लगती है, जब भी किसी को बेचारा परेशान. वो फ्रांस के राष्ट्रपति तो ऐसा बिदक गए जब हमारे प्रधानमंत्री ने दबाया. हमारे प्रधानमंत्री की सेहत भी अच्छी है, तो वो नहीं मैं कहता, वो उनकी अपनी नज़रिया है, वो कैसे हाथ मिलाएं या जब भी डालें. हमको तो ये है, भैया आप काहे बीच में पढ़ते हो, प्रधानमंत्री जी की सेहत अच्छी है, इसमें भी आपको सेहत खराब होनी चाहिए. बैठिए, हमको कोई कष्ट नहीं है, हम गलतफहमी है आपको, हमको कोई कष्ट नहीं है. हम तो कहते हैं भगवान उनको सेहत दे. अब मुझे एक चीज कहनी थी, एंड दिस इज अबाउट Israel and Middle East and Gulf. Sir, India has economic and strategic interests in Gulf and in Middle East. Let's not forget that. 6 million Indians are there in the Gulf countries. When you look at the remittances, which have fallen marginally, but it's very, very important. Prime Minister has visited. Prime Minister went to Saudi also. Prime Minister went to Abu Dhabi. Prime Minister came with many assurances of investments. Please tell us, those billions of dollars which were committed in Abu Dhabi, 100 billion, how many billion of that 100 billion have come? And in which projects they have come? And how many jobs have been created? That at least is fair for us to ask, and the duty of the government to inform the House.
Now please conclude. 1 minute left.
No, we are not.
No, please.
We can change our speakers. No.
No. Your party time. 1 minute left for your party time.
No, there's no 1 minute.
I am talking about the party time.
Please.
Yes, I know. I have been instructed that the time has been extended by 1 hour.
It's eventually the House which decides, you know.
One second. I have been instructed, the time has been extended for 1 hour.
No, that the House will decide.
Only 1 minute has been left for your party time.
No, that's fine. I think the House can decide, and Honorable Vice Chairman knows it better. The sense of the House is sense of the House.
Not at every half an hour.
Thank you. Now, one thing which I must say, I will respect that, but please, let me just conclude without interruption now. Sir, we must not lose sight of our interests in the region, and this is a serious matter that I am discussing. We have a special relationship with Israel. Our government also took it forward. We have no objection. But there should be a balance. If Israel engagement is important, equally important is our commitment and solidarity with the people of Palestine. There has to be a balance. No impression must ever be given that there has been a departure. That would be actually going against the interest of the Indian diaspora in the Gulf, against India's economic interest and India's security interests. Sir, I may say one thing. In today's context, what is important as we pursue our political and economic interests through our global engagements, I am reminded of non-aligned movement. It was not aligned, but aligned with India's supreme national interest. And again, the foundation was laid in Bandung. Sushma ji, you and your colleagues had gone to Bandung for the 50th anniversary. Jawaharlal Nehru, please. Jawaharlal Nehru was the leader and one of the architects at Bandung. And what happened then? Why other country leaders in the host country, Indonesia, and others, heads of states, remembered and recalled Jawaharlal Nehru, and your statement and India's statement did not even refer to Nehru in Bandung? This is sad. This should not have happened. And the same happened at the Africa Summit. And the co-chair, along with our Prime Minister and the other heads of states of Africa, got up and reminded that we are free countries today because of India, because of Nehru, and because of the Congress.
Now, Mr. Sharma, please conclude.
Sir,
Your party time is over.
I'm concluding.
Your party time is over.
Enough time was taken.
No, please listen. Initially, it was decided.
I have been victim of repeated interruptions.
No.
I'm concluding.
My hands are tired, sorry.
I'm concluding.
My hands are tired.
I'm concluding.
Please don't.
I'm concluding.
Please conclude.
Give me 2 minutes, I conclude.
Okay, sit down. Please conclude.
I'm concluding. Well, normally, with due respect, when Indian Parliament has discussed such an important matter, time has never been rationed, but I respect whatever is the decision, but I will say that as we engage with our partner countries, please ensure that there is a balance. We engage with one country, but that should not be at the expense of India's partnership with another country. Though those two big powers of the world may have their own differences, we should ensure that we engage with each, whether it is Russia or America, whether Germany or France, South Africa or Brazil. We must ensure that strategic balance. And my last words are that I'm sure that those who are taking forward our engagements are capable. We recognize them. They are not the ones who get that recognition. We have, since our independence, given some of the finest diplomats and some of the finest minds. I'm sure that they'll be conscious of these facts as we engage, and we will not dilute or deviate from a foreign policy which has been time-tested and on which there is a broad national consensus. And the government will genuinely address our concerns and keep the country informed. That is the requirement of a parliamentary democracy, and that is what I'm urging the government to ensure, to restore the balance and to protect and uphold India's supreme national interests. Thank you.
Thank you.